I'm going to share with you a couple of tips today for Adobe Fireworks. We're going to be looking at the guides and various ways that we can use those. And this is a feature that is not specific to any particular version. This is CS5, it works in CS4 and CS3 and so on. Now the first thing with using the guides, and in fact in general, regardless of whether it's Fireworks, Photoshop, any graphics program, I always like to have the rulers visible. So a quick little tip here is on the Mac, if you do Option, Command and R, it'll bring up the rulers, as you can see. Of course on a PC that would be Option, Control R to bring up the rulers. So let's start looking at the guides. Now of course, guides, especially if you're thinking in Fireworks and web layout, very useful. And there's some little tips that I'm going to give you here, some shortcuts to help speed your workflow, and a few things that you might not be aware of that are actually pretty cool. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to go up here and change tools, and I'm just going to use the pointer tool. And as per usual, you can click on the ruler here and you can just drag out the guides. You can see I'm just dragging a few out here. I'm going to drag out a couple of horizontal and a couple of vertical to work with here to demonstrate. So there we have the guides. Now the first shortcut for you here is if you want to actually hide and display the guides. There are times when of course your guides can get in the way, and the first thing you can do is on the Mac will be Command, and of course on the PC that would be Control, and you can just hit the semicolon key there and it toggles the displaying. And you can also go up here of course and find it in the menu. Just look in the View menu under Guides. Now the next thing is locking the guides. There are times when you can be dragging things around, and like if I go over here, you see I can just click with the mouse and drag this. Well, I might accidentally drag guides around and I don't want that to happen. So what I can do is use a keyboard shortcut, which on the Mac is going to be Command, Alt and semicolon, and that's going to lock them in place. On the PC that would be Control, Alt and the semicolon. Now it doesn't look any different, but if I'm clicking with the mouse, and you can see I can't click on that guide to move it. If I do Command, Option and semicolon again, and you can see that now they're not locked in place and I can move them around. So there's a little shortcut for you. Now of course a useful one as well is snapping to guides, and for that on the Mac it would be Command Shift semicolon, and on the PC of course it would be Control Shift semicolon. And let me just demonstrate that to you here. So I'm actually gonna click here now and just drag across here, and as you can see, as I get close to these guides nothing happens because it's turned off. So I'm just going to click to make that selection go away. I'm now going to do the Command Shift semicolon on the keyboard, and now when I do it I'm just going to click here and start to drag. You'll see that as I get close it'll actually start to snap to the various guides. So that can be useful. If you want to go in there, I can just click somewhere close to there and just drag across, and it's going to snap and give me that square. Or of course I can do it here too, somewhere close, and drag there. So snapping to guides is always useful. Now another one is, what if you want to be very specific? Sure, we can drag these guides around here and you can see them, and you can see on the ruler where it marks them up here. But what if you actually want to be very specific? What if I want to, say for example, move this guide here to 100 pixels and know that it's absolutely on 100 pixels? Well, if you just hover over the guide and double click, it's going to bring up this positioning little dialog here, and I can just now enter 100 and press return, and it's going to snap it across there to 100 pixels. And the way that works, as you can see, is it's going to work from the 0 selection, which at the moment is this top left corner. Of course if you click on the ruler here and click and drag, you can actually set the 0 point to be anywhere you want within the image. If I release there, you'll see now that 0 and 0 on the rulers is over here. So I'm just going to go back and set that up there. So there's some little shortcuts for you that I think you're going to find useful, and here's a very cool little one that not many people come across. What if I want to know the distance between this guide here and this guide here? Well, if I hold down the Shift key, you can see, look, as I move across here, it's now actually displaying to me the width between the guides. So between this guide and this guide is 136 pixels. Between this one and this one is 27 pixels. Up here, it's from the edge there to the bottom there is 89 pixels, and as I move these, they're actually going to update. So you can see when you're doing layouts, you can see exactly your pixel dimensions when you're laying out web pages or design something like that. So that's a very little useful shortcut for you there. You just release the shift key and they go away again. So that's well worth knowing. I hope these have been useful to you. If you are interested in more videos, go to uibuzz.com or on Twitter @uibuzz, and keep up to date with the new videos as they're posted and look through the archives. Thank you.